Okay, forgive the framing, but I wanted to show the whole image in one shot. This is the first page of his white comic, which came out a while ago, but it's making the. I guess it's got re-released or something. He's got his stuff up on Amazon too. So literally the first page of his insane comic is a white cop just deciding to yeet a carload of dudes, just for the hell of it, just for shits and giggles. It's funny. It's like these race grifters, I guess. They're not thinking long term because they're alienating like the one group in America that is least likely to have interests adverse to theirs. A lot of them know it too, which is the weird thing. Okay, I saw, this is his white. It's a follow up to Black, which came out in 2016, which did $92,000. It's just the standard silly Kwanzaa, who's kind of a living example of Dunning-Kruger. He's a guy on Twitter who is learning his word of the day, and he's just desperate to show it off in his tweets. So he says, like, allow me to elucidate while you ruminate on what I pontificate. He's that kind of guy. He would work existentialism, bioluminescence, and Dada into one sentence because he's smart and cultured, and he wants you to know it. Which is kind of weird, because if he's so smart, why not just write better stories? I have no idea. He's one of those who's like Mark Waid. They're just both blinded by this insane hate. Mostly of a group of people who don't hate them. So even on the sailing the seas sites, his own people who ordinarily would have been more responsive to someone like him absolutely roasted him as cringe. Because these sort of stories, Black, White, and Ignited, which went for 10 issues, I don't know how, because I think it was selling like 900 issues. They feel like they're kind of like 5 years too late and 5 years behind the bell curve. Maybe people would care about these blonde man bad stories, but every time you pop on the news, how do I say this? You see how awesome blonde people are, and how you would prefer to be around people who are as awesome as they are, in a geography, because you'd be safe from bad actors who commit malicious acts while driving with high velocity lead poisoning. So the contrast between the real world of the peaceful blondes versus the world of comics is insanely alarming. And it's cringy because we're not idiots, dudes. We know what's up. That juxtaposition is a study in the absurd. I feel confident that Kwanzaa could work in Janus, Kafkaesque, and MC Escher. The best I can do is Clown World. I can't believe I'm still in Clown World. It's like a Groundhog Day of clowns. You mean it was always run by clowns? Always has been, friend. Kwanzaa's stuff feels like a cargo cult of comics, but right now it's like the lady doth protest too much. His comics are some mirror world where black is white and bad is good. But more power to him, honestly. His first outing did 92,000. The follow-up did 47,000. That's not bad at all. His third in the series is probably going to be, I don't know, Back to Black again, because he wants that 100K. And if he can find people to support his insanity, then honestly, good for him. So he did like 140 on Kickstarter, and he's still selling the stuff on Amazon. So I don't know, what is his total up to now? If you can find a market for it, that means it's your duty to sell it. And he actually sort of proves the point of maneuvering social media and cultural currents, zephyrs, into getting money from the customer in exchange for, I think even he would admit, a very amateur effort at writing. And the art is not great either, especially in the first one, Black, and then Black AF. Oh my god, that was bad. It's this thing of like we're artists. There's not good or bad art. It's just, are you ready for publication? And the stuff he was doing is like, no, you're not ready for publication. Draw hardcore for a year every day for as long as you can. Draw figures moving through panels every day, and then you'll be ready for publication. And to be fair, Comicsgate did something similar, and some Comicsgate comics were every bit as bad as Black and White, or in some cases came late or didn't come at all. You had Detective Dead, Sovereign, Stealing Solo, Red Rooster, and probably a bunch of others that I just kind of tuned out. But then there are also excellent offerings like Iron Sights, Lone Star, Cyberfrog, Bigfoot, Bill. So it's and it's a growing industry where, I don't know, someone like Kwanzaa, I don't know how well his third outing will do. The thing is, Kwanzaa's first comic sucked, like embarrassingly bad, but because he's got purse puppy privilege and a Twitter following, he's able to crowdfund a second one, which also sucked. What I mean is, like, simply because of who he is, oh, she has a cute little primate pet, people will retweet him, like Mark Waid will retweet him in the mainstream. And, you know, all these other blue check marks will retweet him. It's like, dude, your stuff sucks. Really, really sucks. It doesn't matter. People hate buy comics on the left and the right. We do it too. It works for us. I'm trying to say the difference is, yeah, Mark Waid conflict with Myers got Myers $400,000 for his first offering. That probably would have hit 180 if it wasn't for Wade's beneficial interference. But it turns out that Jawbreakers was really good. Like, even the detractors would look at it and go, yeah, this is a solid comic. It's there's not much to hate in it. I think they hated that the girl was drawn too sexily. It's a comic, you idiots. Sex sells. The audience for his comics is 95% men. Anyway, up to sales. He started in 2016 that I remember. Something in the air in America feels different. And to be fair, also in Europe. Now people are just kind of openly saying that we should separate de jure as well as de facto. Your average suburban dad is talking about things that just weren't on the radar a few years ago. Probably because you've got Biden in office, but you still have nonstop BLM violence. Actually, you have more. The July 4th crime wave in Oakland, Chicago, and all those other cities. And the open looting in San Francisco stores because they don't prosecute under $950. So you've got people going in with trash bags just filling up the place. I think people are kind of noticing that there's no coming to the table on issues where all they have to do to deflect an argument and shut down the argument is cry Islamophobicism. So there's no argument to be had. So you say, okay, if we legitimately can't speak to each other, then we need to separate, literally geographically separate by law. Peacefully and legally after legal due process. Don't swat me, bro. It would just be better for the different tribes to split apart on tribal or ideological lines. Comics like Black and White and Ignited, I don't know if you read the 10 issues of Ignited. Holy cow, good luck getting through that. And the rest felt indulgent before Biden took office. Now it feels like people like Kwanzaa are also coming to the understanding that splitting apart might be for the best. The left won. You got Biden. I know that wasn't the ideal. They wanted the 1024th Elizabeth Warren. But things are much, much worse under Biden. Plus, you take into account that Biden tanked the economy. Or let me be correct. Biden's not doing anything. His executive advisors are doing everything on purpose. Enjoy those gas prices, California. It's time to trade in for a Prius. It's like people realize the country is actually legitimately at risk of a very serious collapse, and BLM and people like Kwanzaa and probably Wade would be cheering it on. So if guys like Kwanzaa and Wade would be happier in their own separate state, then it's something to consider. They could do a circle jerk over who hates Europeans the most, but I suspect Mark Waid would win. Oh yes, if the country splits, 99% of the mainstream comics people will be with Kwanzaa. Who knows, maybe they'll make him a warlord. Better get those burning tires ready. Oh, and also prepare for cannibalism. Maybe he can be the next General Buck Naked. Kwanzaa's got his stuff up for sale on Amazon, so he's actually making a living being a racist, which is my dream job. So I envy him. Hate sells, and it turns out that people are buying. As long as it's anti-white. Every day I thank God that I'm a woman of color and trans and a lesbian. Kwanzaa is sort of a weird success story of how to ride a wave because he is legitimately untalented. I mean, he has no writing ability whatsoever. He's got no natural talent, no natural ability, and he hasn't appeared to have put in any work to improve at all. He hasn't studied the craft. He hasn't made any improvements from day one. He's just a bad writer. And a bad, I don't know what you call it when you, I guess executive editor, when you're putting all these things together, because everything about his comic is garbage. It is a very, very amateur effort that most people would look at and go, yeah, this isn't ready for publication. Whoever, I don't know who you are, you got some friends in some high places to get this thing out there, but that's the power of purse puppy privilege. He makes Mags look like Shakespeare. Even Mark Waid fired him, probably because Waid was tired of having to rewrite his mistakes. Kwanzaa, you can't call every blonde character Who White Devil. He would probably call blonde-haired, blue-eyed Waid literally the Austrian corporal. Anyway, that's a long intro to get into Everfrost, which is about nothing, starring nobody, and is for no one. It's by Black Mask, which I think is Kwanzaa's company, so good for him for getting those IPs off the ground. It has a pox lady with a sword who has a blonde-haired, blue-eyed husband who unfortunately murdered their child because the kid was the devil or maybe just really annoying. They didn't explain, and the reader doesn't care. So the pox lady kills her blonde husband, who isn't Asian or Spanish or African. He's absolutely specifically Aryan, because that's how they do things. So our Pox protagonist, you're already hating her. She's got a primate sidekick for some reason, probably to be the Deus Ex Machina when the character paints herself into a corner. Then there are a bunch of red-haired and blonde women fighting, which in comics means that they're going to be coded to be evil, because every single time you see Euro and Afro, it's Euro bad, Afro good. That's modern Bolshevik comics. This comic is mostly women, but written by a man. Usually it's a good idea to just write what you know, but maybe this guy identifies as a black woman. You never know. He might be the trans Sean King of comics. It's coming. It's only a matter of time in this clown world. The antagonist is, of course, an evil blonde woman. If you don't read comics, maybe you think I'm kidding with the blonde man bad trope. I'm not. It's insane. The anti-white propaganda in comics is nuts. If you read or even just scroll through comics regularly, you'll see these racist tropes, which confuse the reader because the reader knows how awesome the people of the light are. So the stories feel off. But once you notice comics always use the blondes as evil characters, it clicks. And then many other things start to fall into place. You see non-stop scenes in comics with people behaving exactly the opposite of real life. All you'd have to do is reverse the tone to make things accurate. You have a scene with two visually distinct people. One commits a bad act, but statistically the odds are 100 to 1 that the parties would be reversed. It's not an issue if it's a rare comic event, but it's not. It's almost every single time. Oh, and then they do, everything is overkill with these trite, hackneyed, overused phrases or expressions that are currently in the Twitter zeitgeist of things like the thoughts and the prayers things, or like current pop culture things that are ephemeral, very in and out. People will be mad about Starbucks cups, and it's like, yeah, were they really? Maybe not. But they put it in they put things like that in comics, and it's very, very topical and timely, but it's just in and out of the memory so quick that it's like in comics, when you start hitting all these points over and over again, it's like every leader is a Trump clone. It's just nonsense, and it's like the writer, I don't think, sees it themselves. 'Cause, to be fair, maybe they know that their comics are going to be like around for like 6 months, and then they're in and out, and once they're out, they're done, I think. Every time you open a comic, you're going to see another blonde terrorist, carjacker, home invader, mugger, liquor store robber, drug dealer, gang member. You start to wonder who's making these comics and if they're actually crazy people. Comics to them is a power fantasy. They get to paint the world as they wish it was, and it drives them crazy that blonde people are so damn awesome. Come on, friend, do a terror. But they just want to be left alone to grill, because terror is not cozy. Anyway, the women team up to delete some men, some blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. Gosh, I wonder who is behind these sorts of comics. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, check out Odysee and BitChute, because it's only a matter of time before the ADL, the SPLC, tells YouTube to ban Comicsgate. And this I'm serious about, and if you made it to this far in the video, it would be very easy to do. All they have to do is write an article naming the big channels, and poof, those channels are gone. What the ADL wants, they get. Go look at Nick Fuentes' Twitter for evidence. Oh, you can't, because ADL SPLC decided to yeet his channel, and it was just that easy. Oh yeah, it's a bunch of women playing the roles of warriors, because, you know, the ability to carry a child for 9 months and care for that child, and it's like none of this biologically makes sense. Women have the female have a role in nature, and it's not to put their ovaries at risk. That doesn't make any sense. You're never going to be able to incorporate that in stories. It's just not possible. If you keep trying, it feels forced, which is like what all their comics feel forced. This is his Black AF comic, where somebody attacks an airport. You know, okay, we'll call those people terrorists, but he's fair-skinned terrorist attacks an airport. Are you insane? And actually, I saw that in another comic where there was two guys who were wearing ski masks, but you looked around the corners of their eyes and their hands, you could see the color of the hands and the eyes under those ski masks. Very fair-skinned people wearing ski masks at airports. Again, it happens, I'm sure, somewhere, but statistically, that's about 1 in a million chance. My point is with these comics is those 1 in a million chances show up every single time. Oh, she's fighting a bad guy. Or it, or Zur, I don't know. Fighting a bad guy who is very fair-skinned. Because that, again, you know, statistically, it's just you're just lightning striking over and over and over again. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. I will see you all Odysee and BitChute.